Didn't dress too well.
What's that?
Didn't dress too well.
Don't worry about it. All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Before we call the meeting to order, I just want to let our audience know that we did not double the size of our council, but we have members of the West Dallas Youth Commission joining us tonight. We're kind of doing a student government night, so they're going to be following along and possibly voting. So I will call the meeting to order, and I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Vitale. Here. Alderperson Weigel.
Here.
Grisham. Here. Haas.
Here.
Keen. Here. Lysick. Here. Ranke. Here. Rote.
Here.
Stefanski. Here. Turner.
Here.
10 present.
All right, we have a quorum, and Alderman Vitale is joining us on the phone. Please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be technically led by Alderman Vitale, but in reality will be led by all of us, because he's on the phone.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Alderman. Okay, we'll now move on to item D on the agenda, public hearing, and I will ask the clerk to read the public hearing.
Resolution to confirm and adopt the report of the interim city engineer containing the schedule of proposed assessments for improvement of various streets by concrete reconstruction.
Thank you. We'll turn it over to Mr. Hutter.
Hi, my name is Rob Hutter. I'm the interim city engineer here for the city of West Dallas. I'm going to go through our streets that are scheduled to be replaced in concrete pavement tonight. We have all 6 different projects here on the screen, and the last project, the Beloit Road project, is a little bit different because it's going to be run by the Department of Transportation. The procedure we'll go through here tonight is I will talk about the project scope, we'll talk about special assessment rates, we'll take questions from the Common Council and the citizens, then the public hearing will be closed, and the Public Works Committee will discuss and vote, and then there will be a final decision by the full Common Council. The streets scheduled to be replaced, the streets all have a very extensive deterioration. This is just one picture of alligator cracking is what we call it. They're all in very poor shape. On all 6 of these streets, the water mains are anywhere between 90 and well over 100 years old. When the water mains are replaced as part of the street reconstruction, they'll be replaced with new water main pipe, and new copper service laterals will be replaced from the main and the road up to the curb stop, which is the area near your sidewalk. That will be taking the old lead laterals and replacing them with copper. There also will be new storm sewer laterals that will be installed. The existing storm sewers are again in 90 to 100 plus years old, and the sanitary sewer also will be replaced, and again, that is in that range of 90 to 100 years old. These underground sewer lines are in pretty rough shape, obviously with their age, and are in need of replacement. Kind of quickly going through the costs of each project. One of the jobs is 59th Street. All of these have pavement, and they also have sanitary sewer, storm sewer, and water main. 61st Street is another one, a little bit longer, obviously adding to the cost. Washington Street, again, has all 3 of the utilities underground. Pierce is another street that's a little shorter, so a little less cost. And Orchard Street is a relatively small project by Highway 100. And the biggest job is the Beloit Road project, which is from Lincoln Avenue to 60th Street. And that job will be coordinated by the Wisconsin Department of Transportation because there's a large amount of federal money that is used for the street reconstruction. On the jobs that don't include Beloit Road, you can see from this slide that the funding comes from a variety of ranges. Some are from our stormwater, our water, and our sanitary utilities. Some of the money is special assessment. Some is citywide property taxes. The smallest amount is through the special assessments. On the Beloit Road job, you can see that the biggest amount of funding is the federal funding, which is more than half of the entire project cost. And again, there are monies here from the different utility funds and from special assessments and from the citywide property taxes. Why do we specially assess, or how do we specially assess? This is an example of a 55-foot lot, which is an average length lot on the project. We have an assessment rate, and that property owner's cost for, again, an average one here would be around $3,500. Those bills do not get mailed until next spring, and there is an option to pay that off either in a lump sum, a 5-year plan, or a 10-year plan. The installment plans do have interest, and that is 4%. The city does not make a profit off that interest. That is simply the interest rate that the city pays. Special assessments have been in place for over 110 years. In the past, up until I believe the 1970s, the entire project was funded through special assessment. Now on the city-funded project, the city is collecting about 10% of the costs through special assessment. On the Beloit Road project, the city is collecting about 3.5% of the costs. The assessment rate is for all residential properties. Doesn't matter how wide the street is, whether they replace sidewalk in front of your house. If it's a busy street, if it's a quiet street, it is the same rate. And it is a way that it allows, I guess, a way for cities to fund some of the cost of these streets. The special assessment is the only way to ensure that tax-exempt properties also pay for that portion of the street. And there are 430 properties roughly in the city that do not pay property taxes, but they would have to pay special assessments. Businesses, corporations, and manufacturers pay a higher assessment rate than residents do. The schedule on these projects, we are working on the design of them right now. They are publicly let projects, and the lowest qualified bidder is the company that gets the project. So that is our state law. Residents will be made known of the schedule and when the work will start via U.S. mail. On the Wisconsin Department of Transportation project, the Beloit Road is a little bit different, but that has to get, that will be bid on March 14th. It has to get signed by the governor, and they will start work in May. The state contracts, again, are not administered by the city, but obviously it affects our city. So we are involved, just not of the scope that we are in the other projects. The Beloit Road project may carry into 2024 if there's work that can't get done in 23. Beloit Road, it will be closed from Lincoln to 60th. There's a detour, and I know it's not shown real well on that slide, so I made a little better one. The detour will go down Lincoln Avenue and then to the north to 60th Street to get around that portion of Beloit Road. The other thing that I encourage all residents to do is you can sign up for a construction in progress report. You get text alerts with that or emails, however you choose. In the construction season, that usually gets updated at least once a week, if not more often. that gives you the most current statuses of the project, and it gives you the city contacts, a person to call on that project. So at this point, I would open it up to questions.
Thanks, Mr. Hutter. We will start, ladies and gentlemen, with questions from the Common Council, and then we'll go to questions or comments from the audience. We do ask, if you wish to address the council, that you approach the microphone up in front here, and please give us your name and address so we can keep a record of who's all here tonight. So we'll start. Are there any questions from the Common Council?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Weigel.
Not a question, but a comment. Rob, just real quickly, the highlights. You said the bills would be mailed out, you said this spring, but you really mean, it said up there, it's March of 2024. Correct.
Yes, March 24, yep. Yeah.
And the bottom line is that the special assessments, which really aren't special, because everyone who owns property long enough in West Allis pays to have the street in front of their house. This is not new, as you mentioned. The special assessments on this project averages the homeowners or the property owner's burden is only about 10% of the total cost of the project, except for on Beloit Road, because of the federal help, that's actually about 3% of the total cost.
That's right, correct.
I just wanted to hit the highlights on the money and the timing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Alderman Weigel. Any other questions from the council or the youth? Okay, then is there anybody in the audience that has questions on this public hearing? You can begin to approach the microphone, and please sign in, and as I said, give us your name and address. Where do I sign in? Oh, the sheet's not up there. It might be on the back table there. You can do that after. Do that first or after? But if anybody else wants to speak, they could start signing up. Oh, sir, I'm sorry, sir. Could you push the button with the little person on it till green light?
My name is David Hoover. I live at 954 South 61st Street. That is north of Mineral on 61st. Now, your sign says north of Mineral on 61st, but it doesn't say to the end of the dead end. Is that going to be finished all the way to the dead end on 61st? For the first question.
I believe that dead-end section is not on the schedule to be replaced, but I can double-check that.
47 years we've been there, and that street has not been touched. And we also have a lead lateral that the city person who went in to change the meter in our basement broke off the shut-off in the basement. So they have to go out to the street to shut our water off for about 10 or 15 years. And you're telling me that we're not going to get a concrete street?
It's not cost effective to do that with a strip pipe.
I'm looking to see if that portion is going to be done.
Because it
I
certainly
don't
wouldn't
believe
be
it.
cost effective to not replace that part of the street.
Right, we base what streets we do on the pavement ratings. We rate the pavements. I don't know if that section, that half block is going to be done. I'm trying to find that answer for you.
And when they are done, are they going to repair the laterals from our house to the street for the sewer and for sanitary?
The laterals get replaced from the main and the road to around the sidewalk area.
Okay,
So they're replaced out of the street.
so that would be up to us to have it done if we want it done at the same time?
Yeah, the contractor that does that would not be replacing the private side.
From the street section to the home is the responsibility of the homeowner.
I understand that. But what I'm saying is I don't want the street, if we do get the street done, I don't want the street dug up to replace something in my yard.
Right.
It wouldn't make any sense to break up the pavement to do
Right.
that.
Right.
They would replace the lateral under the street, up until the sidewalk area. So
Okay.
that would be new.
All right, and the lead laterals, what's happening with those folks?
The laterals, There has been a program the last few years that has offered residents an opportunity to replace the lead laterals from their home to the curb stop for a flat rate of $1,600. However, the DNR who funded that is no longer funding that. So for 2023, we don't have that program in place because we don't have funding for it. We're hoping that the DNR will fund it in '24.
And that was the one through MMSD, and
Yes.
probably got about, was it about 15 to 20% participation of
Yeah.
everybody we asked?
Right.
And
that
was
it.
that advertised?
Yes.
That
We
was
certainly
only,
didn't hear anything
no,
about
it
it.
was only for streets that had been redone.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, but it was
Right.
offered to the property owners
Yes.
on those
Of
streets.
streets that had been done.
Correct, yes, sorry, yeah.
Yes,
Okay, so it
Yeah.
wasn't offered to us.
correct.
Not yet, no.
Right.
But you're gonna let me somehow, can
Yeah,
I find out?
if you have time, I don't know how long the public hearing will last, but when we get to recess, you guys could talk offline if you want, if it doesn't go too long.
All right, so
Or else if you
we
leave
can
your-
find out if that's gonna be done all the way to the dead end?
Yep, if you want, if you sign in, I have your address, so if you sign in, I can get back to you on that.
Thank you.
Richard Kaiser, 6510 West Beloit Road. As far as that Beloit Road project, you had mentioned that you've got a considerable amount of federal funding. Is any funding coming from the state since they redid the I-94 corridor and they used Beloit Road as one of the major detour routes? Is any state money coming through for that? Has anybody applied for any state money for that?
The federal money would be, I guess, it's federally funded and it's run through the Department of Transportation. So there's not state money that can be done if the federal money is used.
Okay, so the federal money is the Department of Transportation money that you're referring to then?
Right,
It's
right.
channeled through the DOT to each state, and then the DOT allocates it within the state.
Okay, that was it. Thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions?
I'm Julianne Berner, 1324 South 61st Street. And I was wondering how long this has been on the books to be done, because I don't recall receiving any notification prior to the letter with the assessment of the street going to be considered even to be worked on. Now, I know one of my neighbors mentioned recently that there is a map online for the next 4 or 5 years. But has this been available before? And if so, how have we as people in the city been notified of it? Because I don't recall seeing anything or hearing anything of it, either through the City of West Allis newsletter or anything coming to my house.
61st Street has been on that 5-year plan, you know, for the previous 5 years, but we don't, you know, send letters to people until the special assessment hearing that we have tonight, the public hearing.
Why not?
It would be, I guess, just it's available online, it's available on the website. The cost of sending letters to, you know, it'd be hundreds of people to notify them of a project that's well in the future would be, I guess it's not a practice that we have done in the past, especially with it being online.
Can I make a suggestion that maybe you put a note in that City of West Allis little paper booklet thing that comes out to people's homes and just say, if you're interested in finding out what may be happening in your properties, here's the link to where you can go online to find out more information? Because, I'm sorry, I guess I wouldn't have thought of going on there to find that information. I would have assumed that I would have been getting a notification from the city, because it's kind of nice to have a heads up of financial obligations that a person has to meet. And, okay, we have a year now to plan for it, but it still would be nice to know. Now that I know that that exists, I will be looking further to see if there's other things down the road for my area and my house, but it would be nice to know about it ahead of time. If you take your car in for a repair, the repairman, if you continually do that, the repairman will tell you, your brakes are headed towards needing repair, and you will ask them and say, hey, right now my finances don't work for that. How long do I have to go before you consider an emergency? We don't have that privilege of knowing that. We're just being told this is being replaced. And I'm not saying I'm against the roads being repaired. I can see that there is some damage and they need to be repaired. I'm just saying it would be nice to forewarn the citizens here ahead of time, saying, even if it's a year in advance before the meeting, saying, this is what we're looking at for the construction of the things, the assessment is going to be about this much, you would be expected to pay this, so that people can start planning ahead for it. Not having, a year's time, especially with COVID and all the other things that have been going on in our world, having a little more advance warning would be nice. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Haas.
and if I may, in response to the concern about notice ahead of time, I want to remind everyone that the bill doesn't come out until the spring of 2024, not 2023. It's still a year from now before you would get the bill. So the notice this is part of the notice process.
Thank you, Alderman. I was just going to add too, we have a capital improvements committee that does, as the engineer had mentioned, we rate all the streets in the city, and we plan everything on a 1 year, is it a 5 year and a 10 year, I believe, on how we expect it to go. Sometimes if there's not enough money in the capital budget, something might get delayed a year, let a street go another year. But I'll be honest, I have not had a lot of people inquire if they know if their street's going to be done in the future. But we can definitely try to publicize that report and that budget every year on what's coming and ratings, things like that. So, yep, understand. Thank you.
Andrew Hurst. I live at 1029 South 57th Street. My garage borders up with 60th Street, and I have a driveway that needs to be torn up. Does this mean I'm not going to be able to park in my garage? And if so, for how long?
Can you tell me your address again?
1029 South 57th Street, but my garage faces the street on Washington.
Oh, okay. That would be, if your garage is on Washington, there will be a period of time where you won't be able to get into the garage when they are removing the pavement and then replacing the pavement.
Gotcha.
But generally, residents are able to park on adjacent streets overnight without a permit or without getting tickets for that during that period where the street is closed.
All right, because they're pretty up to date with the tickets on my street right now, just saying.
Okay. Yeah, those are, that is waived for that period when the street is closed.
And then my second question is, my house is also 100 years old, and we've kind of been mitigating some foundation issues. Say the construction equipment further damages my foundation. Is there anything that can be done about that? Or I should just do everything I can to lock down the foundation before construction starts?
I would say that's pretty rare that anything happens to a foundation. One thing you could do is take a pre-construction video or on your phone, just to see if there was any problems during construction. Then you'd have something to compare the condition to it before the job started. But it's very rare that the digging of the street causes foundation problems.
Got it. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Anybody else with questions or comments on our public hearing this evening?
Kelly Mattis. I was wondering, we live on 2043 South 59th Street, and we have a off of 60th, it's a little, there's the alley, and then you can get onto, from off 60th, and it goes into our alley. Now, Beloit is right there. I am wondering about the traffic we're the last street, the traffic that's going to be going through our alley, because We have a really tight block, and a lot of us just park on our slabs in our back of our garages. Now, what are they gonna do about that traffic? Is there going, I mean, I don't want to have to go out there and start flagging people or anything. I mean, is there going to be like, so people can't go through our alley?
If it becomes a problem, you can work with the city inspector. It wouldn't be the city inspector, the state inspector in that case. They can put up signs, say, no through traffic. So there are things we can do to try to discourage that through traffic.
Okay, so if this starts happening, and because I watch traffic, I can see 60th Street. So if this starts happening, do I call the city engineer department?
In that case, in that job, it will be a Wisconsin Department of Transportation inspector.
Okay.
And you will get his or her information on how to contact that person.
Okay, and there will be, the contractors won't know anything about that then, right? Or,
Well, it would be better, you'd be better off calling the inspector than the contractor.
okay, also, are these going to be contractors from Wisconsin, or are these going to be contractors from out of state?
It will most likely be from Wisconsin, but it's the lowest qualified bidder. So if sometimes you do get out-of-state contractors, but usually they're Wisconsin-based.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
My name's Alex Kaler, 1100 South 61st Street. So that's right on the corner of 61st and Washington. I believe 61st is going to be affected by this. Washington west of 60th won't be. I have pictures of the sidewalk being flooded in that area, and there's also a tree that seems to have overgrown its britches. It hangs over our house, and I'm wondering if trees are going to be considered in this proposal. Removal of them, planting new ones.
Our city forestry department has gone through or will go through these streets and trim any trees because we don't want the dump trucks ripping tree branches down. Yeah. On that specific location, I'd have to look and see and talk to the forester about that part, that specific location.
The trunk is damaging the road now and the sidewalk. We've had them come out and trim the tree, but it still hangs over our house, and it's
Okay.
causing damage to the gutters and.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I can talk to the forester on that. You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions from the audience?
Elisa Lopez, I'm 1316 on 61st Street. So this estimate that I received in the mail, it's saying it's not a bill, but from what I saw in those slides, $66.97 is the going rate. So regardless of what company you take that's the lowest bid, is this bill correct then? That I'm gonna roughly be paying over $2,000 for a 30-foot section in front of my house?
Yes, that's a rough, it's an estimate, but that is a pretty good estimate of what you'll be paying, correct?
Okay, and I understand it's March 2024 that it's gonna be coming out, but that means I have to pay this in full?
No.
Or I have to pay interest if okay.
Yeah,
So it has to be paid in full, otherwise I'm gonna come more out of pocket if I can't afford
It's a
that lump sum?
It's a 10-year or a 5-year,
Yeah, I believe it's
With
paid in full
interest?
5-year or 10-year.
And I just know
And no-
because I did the 10-year when they did our street, and it is 4% interest, but that's the city's cost of borrowing the money from the bank. It's not a profit for the city. And you might be able to find a better interest rate on your own. I don't know if any more, but
Right.
that's also an option to consider.
Okay, and my other question is, I had a few years ago some sewage backup in my basement that ended up, when I had a company come through, it went all the way out to that lateral. So because you're replacing all of that stuff, is there a possibility that whatever was affecting it before, that could happen again and I'm gonna get backup in my basement? Or this is supposed to improve it and there won't be any side effect on my property?
Well, it would depend on where the problem was in your sewer lateral. So this job will replace the lateral from the middle of the road to about where the sidewalk is.
Okay,
Um,
it was
if the pro-
at the sidewalk.
It was
a
at the
few years-
sidewalk?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and so that should solve that particular problem, but your lateral is, most likely about 100 years old. So I can't promise that there aren't other problems in it.
Okay. And then last thing, are there any grants or anything that are being looked into to kind of help with the cost for all of the residents? Or is the funding, the pie chart, is that just what it is and this is the portion that we are responsible for?
Yeah, for the special assessment, there's not any kind of grants or anything right now, and so that's, right, that's kind of the portion that you're responsible for, correct?
Okay. All right, that's it.
Thank you.
My name's Brent Perkins. I live on 1121 South 61st Street. I've lived there for, I think, like 16 years. Just roughly doing the math, I think I've paid somewhere around $60,000 in property taxes in the last 15 or 16 years. I still pay for trash removal, I believe, and water and whatever else. And I'm not a mathematician or a accountant or a financial advisor or any of those. I'm an iron worker, but I could do this myself instead of having to. Mine's $4,000 for my little plot of land. That's I just can't quite. I guess if I have to put it in a question, I don't know where all this money goes to. That I've paid $50,000 to the city of West Dallas to live here for the last 15 years. I've had to put a new roof on our house this last year for $14,000 because the city was going to fine me for, I don't know, whatever. I still have to put a roof on my garage. I got to put a new furnace in right now. I've got all kinds of stuff to do. And so the street alligatoring or crocodiling or whatever really isn't a high concern of mine. What is another $4,000 that I have to pay for the city street. And I heard how we're real quick to when it gets to the curb, then it becomes private, and that's our responsibility. Well, if everything from the curb in is our responsibility because it's private, then to me, the public part should be, the city should be taking care of it. I don't understand why on top of everything we gotta pay to live here, that we got to also pay for the streets to be put in too.
Well, that's just, I'm going to ask
at what point
I'm going to ask that we don't have applause just because I have to preserve decorum in the room, and you're welcome to come up and speak. But, so what, I heard a couple questions.
Well, my first question, I guess, is where'd my $50,000 go? What does that do?
So I don't have the budget in front of me, but I can tell you about half of our budget, if not over half, goes to police and fire. In addition to that, it's plowing the streets, it's garbage collection, it's recycling, it's the library, it's the farmer's market, it's the playgrounds, it's the health department, did I say the farmer's market? Well, schools are a separate taxing entity. Your property tax bill is only about 40% coming to the city of West Dallas. Your property tax bill is also got Milwaukee County, it's got the schools, it's got MMSD, and it's got the technical college. So the city of West Dallas only gets about 38 to 40% of your property tax bill. So if you're paying, I'm not a math wizard myself.
You just say $3,500.
So then about 40% of that is coming to the city.
And how many houses are in West Dallas? It gets to the point where you start doing the math, and you guys are getting $90 million a year, and then we got to pay for the streets to get repaired.
And that's a policy that is in place, and it's not something we can change tonight. I can get you a copy of the budget. I promise it'll bore you, but it'll break down in some very simple charts on where the money goes. Salaries, health insurance, maintenance, work. The part of the city we're talking about, a couple people have referenced, is 100 years old. So that infrastructure is old, which is why a city like New Berlin or Brookfield is a newer city. It's only 50, 60 years old. They have a lot newer stuff. They don't have streetlights in New Berlin. We do. A lot of their neighborhoods don't have sidewalks. We do. It's a very hard discussion to have in a public hearing. I'd happy to talk to you one-on-one, but it's very hard to answer that right now.
All right, well, it just sounds to me like there's, something's not right, that we have to pay for the streets. You know, at what point do we have to pay for the telephone poles and the street lights and the stop signs? And,
You
know,
do.
we do, right.
You do.
We're pretty much
And
paying-
again, I'm not going to go into the.
That's what my point is that we're
I
already
understand.
paying for it.
No, I understand.
So I don't know why we got to pay for it more.
And I can't pass this opportunity to remind everyone in the room that the state is currently sitting on a $7 billion surplus, and shared revenue, which is tax money spent in West Allis that comes back to the cities in theory, has not been raised since 2003. So I hope those of you frustrated with that situation can consider calling your state representatives and talk about the state financing fiasco, but that's another conversation. If any of you want to spend an hour with me over coffee, I'd be happy to have that conversation. I'll pay for the coffee. Yeah. All right. Anybody else have questions?
Hey, Patrick Rohrer, 5824 West Bear Street. I'm concerned about the 7-foot approach to my driveway. I'm wondering if you can explain to me what exactly that is.
You said 5824, which?
West Pierce Street.
Pierce, okay. That would be the area between the sidewalk and the curb that you drive up to get into the driveway or into your garage?
Right. So I have a 12-foot wide driveway, and the narrow end of my approach now is 10 feet, and the wide end's 15 feet. So is maintaining the same approach can be an option?
We generally, yeah, if you want that to be smaller, we can make it smaller, yes.
No, I have a 102-inch wide trailer I bring in
Okay.
together, so I need it to be the same or larger.
Okay. We can, I'm trying to think, I'd have to see your particular bill and see what size approach we have on the plan for it, but we can work with the resident to vary that size of the approach unless it gets past we have a 30-foot maximum.
Okay. And then as far as the sewer lateral, I'd like to coordinate possibly replacing mine when this project's done, so the new concrete doesn't get tore up. Is there gonna be some sort of coordination effort for that?
Well, the sewer lateral will be replaced from the road into about where the sidewalk goes. So that part will be replaced as part of this project. If you want, you're talking sanitary sewer?
Yeah.
Okay. The rest of it can be coordinated. Most likely the contractor that is doing that work doesn't want to get into the private work. It's two different kind of entities, but we can certainly coordinate something, or where they stop, MMSD has programs where they can, it's called a pipe check program, where you can get some money off of doing the private side of that.
Okay, we'd kind of like to do it at the same time type
Sure.
of deal. And then could you bring that slide up for Pierce Street again, those numbers?
Oops, sorry.
All right, so I'm looking at sanitary sewer in there. They just went through and did that a number of years ago, probably like 4 or 5 years ago. So why is that on there again?
That would be the laterals that go from the sewer to about where the sidewalk is.
Yeah, that's what they did. They did the main, and then they came off of it like maybe 8 feet or something like that.
On all those laterals?
Well,
I'm thinking they.
On mine they did.
Okay. Usually when they do a sewer relay, they just reconnect the laterals. They don't go all the way to the sidewalk. So for Pierce Street on the sanitary sewer, they're going from, this would be from about the main to where your sidewalk is.
So it's 31,000 to do like 10 houses?
That sounds about right. I mean, again, these are estimates, but yeah, it's
Okay.
just going through numbers in my head. It's usually $70 a foot,
All right, that's all I had.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Yeah, go ahead.
Ben Lawler. My property's on 5843 Washington. the driveway on the property butts up with my neighbor's driveway. So we share a driveway, and then it splits to our garages. How do I know who's paying what for the entry to the driveway?
On that one, we look at where the property line is, and the property line, extended to the street, and that's how we measure who pays for what.
Okay.
So we take the property line between your house and your neighbor's house, and if you're sharing a driveway, we just kind of extend that property line to the street, and you would pay on your approach, and he or she would pay on his.
So you split it basically?
Probably very close to being split, yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Anybody else with questions?
My name is Navi Gill. I own the property at 5901 West Beloit Road. So as some of the previous people have said, my bill is going to be $19,000. And my question is there, and I completely understand it needs to be done, but is there any way to get a higher contribution from the city, county, state, so we don't have to pay as much?
Do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I mean, I think the assessment rate is set at what it is. I don't believe that's anything that could be changed at this point.
Okay, has that been explored though? Has that been?
I don't know. Did you come in a little bit late, or were you standing?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, just-
It was early on. Like one of the reasons we do assessments is because of all the nonprofits, like schools and churches and things that don't pay property taxes, to get them to contribute to the project, which isn't a direct answer to your question, but it's a set rate of X dollars per frontage foot. Correct me if I'm misspeaking, because this is your wheelhouse, not mine. But yeah, so it's based on your linear footage around the property, and you have a pretty significantly large building in that neighborhood. So, but it is. Did you hear about the payment options of the 10-year?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Mr. Gill. Any other questions or comments from the audience? All right. Thank you all for your comments, questions, and I'm glad to see a room full, because that's how this government should operate, hearing from you. And it's good to see people coming out and talking. We will close the public hearing, and we will move on to item E, which is citizen participation. This is the time when the council can receive information from members of the public on any topic. We ask that you keep your comments to no more than 5 minutes, and still give us your name and address for the record. Does anybody wish to address the council under citizen participation?
Evening, I already signed up when I came in here.
All right.
I'm practiced at that. I've been here enough.
You're a veteran.
I guess. Matthew Preetz. I hope Alderman Vitale's doing well. I didn't expect to, 2457 South 63rd Street. Didn't expect to be here tonight, but thanks to one of my childish neighbors in back of me, 2 Sundays ago, he decided to shoot off 3 fireworks. I thought, it's January. I guess he didn't care. So I'm here to bring it up again. And me and Alderwoman Gresham had a pleasant conversation about that before this happened. But by the way, our state representative is Reamer, Daniel Reamer. I actually got a surprise call from him about this, which is nice. And so the thing I want to point out here is statute number, which I've been very practicing because I've read it enough. 167.10 is the statute regarding fireworks regulation. And I finally took a closer look at it recently, and I wanted to wait till the holidays went past because nobody wants to talk about that during the holidays, including me. And it specifically states in there that any municipality in the state has the ability and the authority to require its residents that want to use these private fireworks to first get a permit. And so Wauwatosa has this. I haven't had a chance to talk to them to find out how it's going. And so the thing that the safety committee really should do is they need to get going on that, and in one of their meetings come up with a permit format and come up with a notification to the residents saying that if you want to get this stuff for the 4th of July, you have to come to us first, get the permit. The other thing that they need to do is start leaning on West Milwaukee, because I've been over there, and since they're the only ones that's got the fireworks vendors going at Pick and Save and Bernard's, I don't think they care. They don't know what they're selling. They just got the permit. Was able to get the permit, and it just gives them permission to sell the stuff. West Milwaukee doesn't know what they're selling. They might be selling this stuff that's illegal, but according to the state statutes, the only reason that it's illegal is that residents don't get their permit for it. Then it's not illegal because the city knows that they have it, and you should have certain places to use it. So that's what I'm here to say tonight, that that the safety committee needs to start working on that this year, because I got the record of the complaints from the police department for the last year. It's 3 pages, and I'm included on that because I called them. And I called the police department.
Sorry, Mr. Peets, you got about 30 seconds left of your 5 minutes.
I called them about this, and they came, and sure enough, there was this thing in the alley. I've got security cameras, and I'm going to put them in. I'm going to catch the guy. So, thank you.
Thanks very much. Does anybody else wish to address the council under citizen participation?
Elisa Lopez, 1316 on 61st. I'm not sure if this is the place to address this or not, but 1312, so the house right next to me is currently owned by an LLC. There was an elderly man that was living there before, and people were helping to kind of keep up with the property. And now they're not. I mean, there's holes, there's squirrels, there's different critters. I know we had a rat issue in our area for a long time now. I just didn't know, who do I contact, or is that something that I address here?
Sitting back in the corner.
Oh, you. All right.
That's Dan.
Okay, I'll talk to Dan.
All right. Dan, help out Miss Lopez. Thank you. Any other questions or comments for citizen participation this evening? Okay, we will close citizen participation. And we will move on to item F on our agendas. Our standing committees will be meeting during recess, and those room numbers are listed on the top of page 2 of your agendas. Moving on to item G, the mayor's report. The only thing I really want to say today is that this morning shed some news that you never want to wake up to. And over my time as mayor, I've gotten to know a lot of our police officers, and they're a family. And when a neighboring community loses a family member, it affects all of us, including the men and women that wear the badge for the city of West Allis. And I just want to take a moment to just remember the name Peter Jerving, and remember that we have law enforcement going out 24 hours a day to keep us safe. And sadly, they don't know if they're going to be coming home after their shift. And unfortunately, we realized that very close to home early this morning. So if you are someone who prays, please pray for our police and pray for his coworkers and family and those that know him. It's tough for me. I'm sure it's tough for everybody on the council and everybody in the room, because when you call an officer, they're there when you need them. And sometimes they're taken for granted when you see the cruiser go by. But just had to say something during this part of the agenda tonight. So that's all I have for the mayor's report. Do we have any alderpersons' reports?
Mayor Devine.
Oh, sorry.
Excuse me.
You guys could sing a duet together. That was good.
Oh.
Alderperson Ranky.
Double trouble, huh? First of all, I want to thank the Youth Commission. We enjoyed having you tonight, and we hope that you enjoyed having us. There's a lot to learn about government, and obviously you are our next generation, and we hope to encourage you to participate as much as you can. We appreciate that you came tonight, and we thank you for your presence. I received a call this morning from a lady that lived on 99th Street. She was very adamant that I publicly thank the DPW workers. She had called and indicated that she needed help in fixing something with her driveway approach in the street as well in front. And within an hour, she said there was a crew and Gary that came and fixed whatever she had called in about, and she was so pleased and happy. She indicated with the services that we provide in West Allis, and she said that I should be sure and mention that publicly and thank the workers, obviously, that came to her rescue. So I did my duty today, and please remember to thank Gary and his crew for this lady. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Lysick.
Mayor, I move to approve the minutes of January 10th, 2023 Common Council meeting.
Second. You're not going to let a student second it?
Second.
All right. This is where the coup starts. We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any discussion or changes to the minutes? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Item J is standing committee reports. We have none. So we'll go right to item K.
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Lysick.
Unless there's any item that a council member would like to have acted upon separately, I would move that the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Rote.
I'd like to refer item 9 back to the Public Safety Committee.
Okay.
Mayor, that would require a second and majority vote.
Thanks, Cale. Is there a second?
I second that.
Okay. Second to send that back to committee. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we're going to need a roll call.
Alderperson Vitale.
Your mic's not on, Rebecca.
Alderperson Vitale says aye. Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham. Haas.
Oh, no, wait, let me be clear on this. Is aye to go back to me?
The motion is to send it back to committee.
Oh, no.
Haas.
Go ahead, do it.
Aye. I'm going to say no.
Keen.
Nay.
Lysick.
No.
Ranky.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Stefanski,
No.
Turner,
Aye.
6 in favor, 4 opposed.
Okay, sent back to committee. Any other items separate?
Mayor Devine, may I ask a question as far as referring it back to committee, as that was a license in health? Or are we going back, what committee are we
Public
going back
safety.
to? Pardon me?
Public safety.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick.
I then move for approval of the consent agenda as presented with the exception of item 9.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. 1 second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick.
I move that we stand in recess until conclusion of the committee meetings.
Please second.
Oh, second?
There we go. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we are in recess.
and he has to take care of his son at night. He had asked if there was any alternatives to coming to these late night meetings, and he apologizes for not being able to come.
Okay. At this time, I think that we need to take a look at this being the applicant's third appearance and being put back on our agenda. My question would be, if he cannot make an evening appointment, I don't know what time of the day or night he'd be bartending. But at this point, we would need a motion for approval, denial, hold.
I'll make a motion to deny.
Second? Okay. Okay, there was a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Chair votes aye. Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
That's based on non-appearance and the police report?
Non-appearance and police report. Thank you. All right, moving along, we have item 44, 2022-1134, new Class D operator bartender application from Marco Mora. First appearance is, hello, how are you, Mr. Morrow? Very good. This evening, we had you come in as you're applying for your bartender's license, and we had a few questions regarding your record. At this time, do you have any restrictions regarding alcohol?
Yes, I don't drink alcohol.
Okay. Are there any legal restrictions that are in place at this time?
What do you mean?
Based on your, let me go back here, I'm sorry. So what we have here is you had well, we cannot consider that, I'm sorry. So I think I'm gonna open it up to the floor and maybe ask questions if any of the other alders have any questions on record. Alderman Stefanski?
I'm sorry, I was explaining something. What?
That's okay. We have Mr. Morrow here. I believe that you said you had some questions for him regarding his bartender application?
My question was, we got on here that you have OWI. Have you gone through the requirements to, from the OWI?
So I'm doing that right now, the AODA program.
Yeah.
Yep. And I go a week of testing and breathalyzer.
Okay. All right.
Madam Chair,
Alderman Rowe?
how did you get here tonight? You did what? Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Morrow, the question that I had that we need to take into consideration is, okay, are you completed with your AODA?
They're not considered.
Okay, and when is your completion for that?
And we can consider it, but it's his first offense.
1 week from now?
Going through,
Okay. With that being said, I would like to review this at our next meeting, if possible, once we know that you have completed your rehabilitation efforts. Is there anything in addition that you would like to tell us beyond the AODA that you have done on your own?
I've been doing really well ever since that incident.
Okay.
Been helping out at their place. She can verify that.
Okay.
Worked since you gave me the temporary license. I've learned how to bartend. I enjoy it. Pretty easy.
Okay.
wait till he passes his class.
It's a big responsibility, and that's why I'd like to see where we're gonna go with this once we know that you've completed your rehabilitation work. So at this time, I will make a motion to hold until our next council meeting.
I'll second that.
Yes, Rebecca?
Also,
I was just going to make a suggestion that perhaps the applicant would contact us when he completes it, just in case there's something that comes up that he doesn't complete it in advance of the next meeting, and we'll schedule him at whatever meeting is after that.
That's a great recommendation, so if that's acceptable, we'll go with that motion that you call us.
That's fine.
Okay?
I just need to know a number to call, and I also need to know, will that affect my temporary license?
Well, Rebecca?
When does your temporary license expire? It won't affect it unless it expires before you get rescheduled. Did you receive an email to be here tonight? You can just email us. if you, okay. So our next meeting is not till March 7th, so
Can he get an extension of his temporary? No?
they're only for 60 days, or until regular license is granted.
Madam
that-
Chair,
Go ahead.
are you currently working? And where are you working?
JD's Pub and Grill.
Is that fair? Okay. Okay. All right. I'm also concerned about your record. I'm also concerned about your record of 2 WIs last year. That's concerning to me, very definitely. And you are now currently into rehabilitation. Is it, did I understand that correctly? All right. And what did you say that you are currently doing?
An AODA program.
Okay.
But I'm
already employed there doing other things in the
Is that completed?
It's not completed.
I see.
When I'm completed, I'm going to contact you guys, and then you guys are.
All right, thank you very much. I think that's a very wise decision.
Thank you. Just for reference on that, your temporary license expires the 17th. So under that purview, is this gentleman allowed to bartend if there's manager, owner present? He just can't bartend on his own, correct?
Right, under the direct supervision of the agent or owner or another licensed bartender.
Okay.
It can be a second person as long as someone with a license is there.
Yes.
Owner, agent, yes. Yeah, so please just give us a call when you finish your treatment plan.
And where should I be able to contact you?
Rebecca?
Rebecca, right? Will you contact
You can call 302 City.
All right, moving on, we have item 46, 2023-0036, new Class D operator bartender application for Brittany Reed, first appearance. Is Brittany here? Okay.
Motion to hold until next meeting.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Next item is 47, 2023-0061, new Class D operator bartender application for Tracy Beauchamp, first appearance. Is Tracy here?
Madam
Motion
Chair.
to hold. Motion to hold. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, motion carries. Hold. And we have item 48, 2023-0106. I'm gonna let you say this. Come up. Right here, yep.
New Class C operator bartender application for Delane Applin, first appearance.
Okay, is Miss Applin here? Okay, she's not here. Do we have a motion?
Motion to hold?
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
did we handle item number 45, Teresa?
Did I skip one? I'm so sorry if I did. Oh, I certainly did. Okay, so item 45, 2023-0033, new Class D operator bartender, application for Teresa Rowe Weisler. Is Miss Weisler here? My apologies for overlooking you and making you wait longer. And we did. We're a little out of order this evening. So, Miss Rowe Weisler, we have asked for you to appear because there's some questions we have regarding your record in order to process your application for approval. We'd like to hear from you. What I see on your record right now is there are 2 OWIs. Correct. Okay, and do you have a valid driver's license at this time? Yes, I do. Okay, can you offer the committee an an explanation or some enlightenment on any efforts for rehabilitation, what you've had to go through in order to?
I do have a list of private meetings that I've been to.
Okay.
They ended May 18th.
Okay, so you completed?
It was a women's group for AA, drugs, and, you know, everything like that.
Okay.
They were 1.5 hours long. The first one was just a phone with, I don't know if she was actually a physician or if she was just a counselor. I'm not really sure what she was.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have the Intoxilock.
You have the Intoxilizer on your vehicle? Okay. All
I
right, and
guess
how long
I
does
was-
that have to stay on your vehicle?
That's where the screw up came in. I was told to put it in last February, which means it should be coming out now. Technically, I didn't need to, but now it won't be coming out till the end of August.
Okay, so you
I've
have a
had
little
it-
ways to go still.
I've had it an extra roughly 6 months.
All right. And these OWIs, my concern, why I'm questioning this is the close proximity between the two. And having a bartender's license and being responsible for others and making good judgment is key to that privilege. And what can you tell me that you've learned from this?
Honestly,
Yes.
I don't want to go back to jail.
Okay.
That was enough to do it.
And do you feel you have the support going forward?
Well, yeah, there was just issues at home, and taking them to work and drinking was the wrong thing to do.
Okay. I thank you for your honesty and your forthcoming. Do any of the other committee members have any questions for Ms. Weisler? No? Okay. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Good luck with everything.
Could you tell me how I exactly do that now? Because I've already applied.
Well, you'll be emailed your license tomorrow,
Okay, and then.
as long as you've paid, so.
Oh, yeah, I did that.
Okay.
Would I get the plastic one that I ordered also?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Did you want to make a copy of this for the records, or? Okay. Thank you.
Items to consider. And should we take item 34 first? Okay. All right, item 34, 2023-0042 Class B Tavern Seasonal Temporary Premise and Public Entertainment Extension Request for Joe Lynch, doing business as Lynch's, 2300 South 108th for outdoor dining with entertainment music from May 1st, 2023 to September 24th, 2023. Joe, thank you for coming. Thank you for your patience.
Not a problem.
All right, so we're gearing up for the season.
Yes, I understand that you want it between Memorial Day and Labor Day.
Correct.
I must have missed that on the application. I apologize about that.
Okay.
The only one I do not need it in May. I just put May down for setup.
Right.
All right. As for Labor Day, we have a miniature ladies golf outing on the 18th or the 23rd every year, which is roughly around 100 to 150 ladies. It's in the afternoon and everything. That would be the only one that would surpass the Labor Day extension.
Okay.
So it'd be one event there. So,
All right, and do you have the date of that?
pardon me?
You have the date set?
I'm not positive if it's the 18th or the 23rd. Nobody's
Okay.
gotten back to me on that yet.
All right, can we include that in the 18th or 23rd? So either date, if you want to have that,
I
would
can
be
get back
okay.
to you once they notify me.
No, we can just add it
Okay.
if it's if everybody's in
It's
consensus
only an
here.
afternoon event anyhow. It's done by 5
Yeah.
o'clock.
I don't see any viable reason that we wouldn't, approve this. You've been a good patron in the community, and And I have no issues whatsoever. Does any of the other council committee members have any questions? Rosie, this is your district.
Madam Clerk,
Go ahead, please.
congratulations, Mr. Lynch. You're the first to apply for this extension.
Oh, really? Thank you.
You win the prize.
Now, actually, was that on there between Memorial Day and Labor Day on the application?
To look, I don't know for sure.
I think
if
that's
it is,
why I
but-
made a mistake, because I don't recall seeing that.
Okay. So when is this going to start then? Memorial Day or
Well, no,
May
I
1st?
actually don't have to start until June. So, yeah, after Memorial Day, then, yeah, that'd be fine.
So to be clear for record, it would be like June 1st through,
Well, my first event is the 9th, but yeah, it'd be the 1st through, if you give me the extension for the 18th or 23rd, then.
I think that
Yeah,
that
all
is
right,
fine.
so.
All right.
I move to approve.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, chair votes aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alderperson Grisham,
Alderman Rote.
District 4.
District 4, I thought it
Yes.
was 5. So sorry.
We got new maps.
Yes, we do. I'm still working on the old map. Thank you for the correction. Oh, no, they're effective. They're immediate. All right, back to business. We're going to go to item 9, which was referred back to committee. And I will read this out as our 2023-0086 resolution to assign existing licensee matters to the Public Safety Committee, amending policy number 301. With all due respect, I'm going to put this over to Alderman Rote as he asked for this to be sent back.
Yes, thank you. My
ahead.
question is to whoever, Kale or anybody, it'd be item 3, parentheses, C, and that's the new license issues. What spawned this to go back to, we've had it since I've been an alderman. Why is it now all of a sudden in, I don't even know what the new committee is, the Development Committee? Who made that decision?
I don't actually recall who made the decision. The request was, though, to put it as a new license application going to economic development, but everything else coming to public safety after a license has been issued. So what this does is it clarifies that existing licenses should not go to economic development. Disciplinary measures for existing licenses should come to public safety. That's the change here.
Right, but how did it get there? Someone had to say, hey, let's move this to the new committee. Someone, we have to always have sponsors on everything.
The council adopted it. I
Well, we
believe.
adopted it, but I think,
I don't know.
to
who
be
this-
quite honest, we weren't, at least I wasn't paying a lot of attention, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, they're all in development now.
I think Alderman Stefanski did. We had a presentation regarding it the meeting before, and then Alderman Stefanski said he would sponsor the ordinance based on the presentation that we gave at the committee.
And I did, but then it was confusing after we had read it, so that's why we kind of asked it to be changed to the way we're trying to change it now. Because when I was under the understanding of it, it was anything that was non-disciplinary was going to go to the other committee. Anything that was disciplinary was staying with us. And that wasn't the way it turned out, and so we had to make this change to it.
So would it be of the opinion of the committee to get it back? Can we get it back? Do we want it back?
Alderman Rote, if I may, one of the things that I did first and foremost as chair was reach out to Rebecca as to how this happened with the licenses, and advocated strongly because I felt that licenses that are heard for violations absolutely fall under public safety. But I can reasonably say when we had our committee of the whole and this was kind of fluid, it was brought up and it was confusing at the time when we did our vote, and then we kind of just left that in the hands of the powers that be and came back and found it to be the way it was. So I think in fairness that I could look at new licensing falling under economic development. But anything that would be, and that's why I think the compromise was made in that, and I believe it requires a compromise in some ways. I'm perfectly fine that we don't hear for the new business licensing. I think public safety really falls under all those other purviews. And the licenses that are available to the city really fall under the business and the development of the city. So that's kind of my stand on it. That's why I didn't feel the need to advocate for that particular licensing. And obviously, we couldn't have a walking quorum in discussion, so this is, the place we need to have it. So I would still stand by that decision of what was on the consent agenda. I don't feel that I'd argue the fact that we need that responsibility back.
So this question would be for Kale. So an existing tavern that's not been operating for 2 years and comes before us, or comes before one of the committees, who gets it?
The Public Safety Committee, if this is adopted, would get that because you're dealing with an existing license. It's not a new license.
It's been gone for 2 years.
Is it a new license application?
This is just hypothetical. It'd be a bar that was in business and hasn't been operating for 2 years, and now they have a new owner, applicant, or whatever comes in. Who gets it?
If it's a brand-new license like that, it goes to economic development.
Does anybody else have any input? Okay.
We want it back, right?
I don't want it back. I'm perfectly fine with the way it is.
We're gonna get, Rosalie, we're gonna get anything that's disciplinary. So if somebody comes with a new license. Is that all we're gonna get? Yeah.
Everything else comes back to
would
us.
go to the economic, because it would be them approving the business to go into business. That's how we were having it work.
So disciplinary actions, the tavern reports, everything that we had been doing under the umbrella of license and health will still be our duties, with the exception of new licenses for businesses. So, if it was a renew, review, anything like that, disciplinary, otherwise, it'll come back to public safety, because I felt, honestly, it did fall under public safety.
I see.
But new businesses fall under economic. You can kind of, it's half and half.
Is that what was indicated?
Yeah, but that's what ended up happening. So that's what we were voting on for the consent agenda this evening, and that's why it was called out for discussion. Because I think Alderman wrote one clarification more so than anything, and definitively, like, who made this decision, because at the time, we had confusion on the vote.
There is confusion.
Right, but I want to make sure before we move forward we need to have clarity moving forward.
Right.
Because where will we go with this, Attorney Decker, if, we say, we're fine, can we bring it back to the floor for vote? Is that where we're going next with this?
This item's been referred, so if the committee adopts this, it would be going back to the council for a vote at the end, and reported out from this committee report.
So if there is interest after the discussion of amending this, I need someone to make that motion, and/or if we want to adopt it as it is. So if I'm going to give courtesy to the committee, does anybody else have any input? Alderman Rowe, go ahead.
Kale, the economic committee issued a new license. And 6 months later, they're having an infraction of some sort. Who gets it then? Who gets the disciplinary?
Public safety.
We do. That's why I almost think it makes sense to do both ends of the deal. Issue that's just my opinion.
And as I said, I'm okay with it the way this is currently to go to vote, so.
Just want to ask a question.
Go ahead, Alderman Turner.
If economic development is doing the initial or the new license, wouldn't they have most of the new information on that business? And that would be a little bit easier for them to make a decision because of that.
Madam Chair. I believe that was the original thought, to make this easier for businesses. Likely, they're already going to be before the Economic Development Committee for some type of planning permit or some type of variance or whatever other thing they might need to open their business. So this was kind of a change to help package that and make it easier for the applicants to do things all at one time. I mean, if we were considering the license and then they also had some planning permit, likely they'd be scheduled at this, they could have to be in two places at one time, or we could not be doing them. They might have to wait a month, you know, between, and we wouldn't necessarily coordinate it, so it would be more difficult, presumably for the businesses.
And Rebecca, that is exactly how it was buttoned up to us before. That's my understanding. So I think where that confusion came in is all of a sudden when the new committee structure came out, it wasn't just that. It was all the licensing duties besides bartending was, going to economic development. So that was the imbalance there. So thank you for correcting, or at least bringing clarification, because that was a key component why we restructured in the first place.
And the way that this is written, it still is all the business licenses, the new ones. So even if it's a pawnbroker.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's fine. But as far as anything that like I said, fell under public safety related would come back to public safety. So Alderwoman Ranke, did you have a question?
I'm still somewhat confused, actually. Since when have bars been under economic development? That to me doesn't.
It's for the business. So somebody comes in as a new bar owner, okay?
Right.
They're gonna come in and they're gonna ask for a license with their planning plan that they have to get a license to start the bar. As long as that's picked up by economic development, that is packaged with all of their other licensing they need for the business. If an infraction happens, say 6 months, like Alderman Roach just said, comes down the road and they say they violated something, then it comes to our committee as a disciplinary action. So they're gonna get the chance to be a business owner to begin with, and they're gonna get that whole package with their license for the business, their license, the planning, all the approvals and all that stuff, through the bundle package that Rebecca's talking about.
Okay.
And then we would get it if they had a violation.
All right, so we are only, it's indicated that we are only there for disciplinary
Because it's
actions.
public safety.
I see.
So that's what it would be for.
Okay, Kale, can you clarify that?
That is accurate. In addition, you would also get all the renewal applications for existing businesses.
Renewals.
And any changes too. So if there's a change of agent or a change of their premise description or a change of their hours, that kind of thing. All, yes, like you just had.
We still get the extensions? I see.
Thank you, Alderwoman Ranke. And just to kind of reiterate that, we'll have everything that we had before, all those duties and responsibilities, with the exception of the new licenses.
Okay.
Okay, are you clear?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So at this time, I'd like to have a motion.
Motion to approve?
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
All right. Alderman Turner seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. Okay, 4 in favor, 1 opposed. All right, I think we took care of business. Do we have a motion?
Motion to adjourn?
Do we have one more?
Oh, wait.
Okay, what do we have left? I'm sorry. Am I missing something? I'm sorry?
That was part of the public hearing, right?
Oh, that would have been, yeah, that would have been. Okay, that would be a matter for Public Works, I believe. So this is public safety right now. So we're going to adjourn this, and then Public Works will be coming up. Okay. All right. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you all.
Green light's not on. I guess Kale's handling them right now, looks like. Okay. We will start out with item 38, Resolution 2023-0047, resolution to confirm and adopt the report of the interim city engineer containing the schedule of proposed assessments for improvements of various streets by concrete reconstruction.
Motion to approve?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 39, Resolution 2023-0048, final resolution authorizing public improvement for various streets by concrete reconstruction and levying special assessments against benefited properties.
Motion to approve?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 40, I know Alderman Weigel wanted to be in on this discussion. Do we know, I know we've all been sitting up here, are they running behind or?
I believe they're holding an item for us as well. So I guess it would be a matter of
This makes
where
sense
are
to
they
have two
at
different
compared to where
rooms.
we're at, yeah.
Maybe recess and then go down there and then everyone can.
Yeah, that would be
Okay.
fine. I make a motion to recess.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, we're in recess.
Thank you.
My favorite subject.
picture, but that's what you get with outer state ownership, absentee landlords, we've
Yeah.
talked about that before.
And their local counsel, Brian Randall, has been very good, but he is also somewhat tied to whatever their in-house counsel wants to do. So he was not really able to get those folks to move either.
Okay, well, thank you.
Cale, where are the dumpsters gonna go then at Noble?
I would expect they're gonna move them to the north side of their building.
Will they have to be enclosed, like everybody else?
Yes, for building code reasons, they'd have to build an enclosure for them.
This is like right here, City Hall's. This is 70.
And they may have to take down a tree, I believe. It depends. Honestly, it's gonna be their issue to solve. Had they been more communicative over the last 6 months, I'm happy to work on this solution. Instead, now they're just gonna be handed a problem to fix.
Mr. Chair.
Alderman Haas.
And Cale, what are the tax consequences, if any, of vacating to Noble Senior Living? I'm assuming Noble Senior Living's a nonprofit, they don't pay taxes, so there are no tax consequences?
Pretty sure they are.
If they're tax exempt, the land would be also tax exempt, this extension.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't think they're tax exempt.
If
Yeah.
I haven't looked, but if they're taxable, it would be tax land. If it's tax exempt, this would be tax exempt as well. Whatever their current status is, it would be that.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any further discussion by any of the members?
All right, I will present, I'll prepare, work with Steve at least to prepare the vacation alley and bring it forward on another day.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Adjourn.
He's not even on that committee.
Right?
Good evening. We will call the council back to order, and I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Vitale. Here. Weigel.
Here.
Grisham. Here. Haas. Here. Keen. Here. Lysick.
Here.
Reinke.
Here.
Roach.
Here.
Stefanski.
Here.
Turner. 10 present.
We have a quorum. We will begin with the report from the Administration and Finance Committee.
The Administration Committee
I'm sorry,
recommended.
I did that again. That's gonna take a while.
I didn't correct you, I just
Yeah,
said
but
one word.
to be fair, Alderman Sangstock called me Mayor Bell for about 6 months, so I got.
The Administration Committee recommended adoption of item 35, passage of item 36, and hold item 37.
Mayor Devine, I move for approval of the committee report.
Thank you, Alderman Haas. Any discussion on the Administration Committee report? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Vitale. Aye. Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Kane.
Aye.
Lysick.
Aye.
Reinke.
Aye.
Roach.
Aye.
Stefanski. Aye. Turner. 10 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. Now we will have the Public Works Committee.
The Public Works Committee recommended adoption of items 38 and 39.
Mayor Devine, I move in accordance with the committee report.
Thanks, Alderman Road. Any discussion?
Pardon me?
Said any discussion?
I have none, no.
No, I know you don't. I'm just checking the other 9.
Well, you're looking right at me. I'm going,
Well, you asked what I said. If there's no discussion, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Hey, Mayor, Town Road, we need an extension cord, maybe.
An extension cord?
okay, we'll get to them.
Alderperson Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Keen.
Aye.
Lysick.
Aye.
Reinke.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Stefanski. Aye. Turner. 10 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. Next up, we have the Economic Development Committee.
The Economic Development Committee recommended adoption of item 41 and placing on file 42.
Mayor Devine, I move for approval of the committee report.
Thank you. Any discussion on item 41? Okay, hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel. Grisham.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Keen.
Aye.
Lysick.
Aye.
Reinke.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Stefanski.
Aye.
Turner. 10 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. And next up, we have the Public Safety Committee.
Item number 9 will be read out separately. The Public Safety Committee recommended granting of items 34 and 45, denial based on non-appearance and the police report of item 43, and holding item 44, 46, 47, and 48.
Mayor Devine, I move for approval of the Public Safety Committee report.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham. Aye. Haas.
Aye.
Keen.
Aye.
Lysick.
Aye.
Reinke.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Stefanski.
Aye.
Turner. 10 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries.
Mayor Devine.
I think we have one
Wait.
more.
Oh, that's right.
That's okay.
Apologies.
No worries.
The Public Safety Committee recommended adoption of item 9 on a 4-to-1 vote.
Okay.
Mayor Devine, we have a roll call vote on this?
Yeah, we need to move the.
Okay,
approval
make a
first.
motion to move.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I did make a motion to move. I'm so sorry.
No, it's
This
okay.
has been a long meeting.
It has.
Move for
Okay,
approval.
and
Move for vote.
there is a motion to approve item 9, and I will ask the clerk to roll the.
Mayor Devine?
Roll the call. Call the roll.
I have a-
Alderman Weigel.
I have a question. On item 9, this is to assign existing licensee matters to the Public Safety Committee. So this is just renewals? I wasn't in that meeting, I'm sorry.
Problematic bar behavior.
Oh, that too?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Mayor Devine, if I may, Alderman Weigel, we're going to have all the responsibilities that we had prior to with license and health, with the exception of new
New business. Oh, okay.
which will go to economic development, and that's all new business licensing,
Thank you.
including pawn,
Thank
all
you.
the other stuff.
That's less work for us.
It is less work for you, and
I want to know who
And
didn't
more
like
work for
that.
us.
Who was the one who didn't think that was?
right. What do you think? Okay.
Dan.
So, and if I'm correct, a vote of yes is to support the original consent agenda item? Okay.
Any other discussion? All right, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel. Grisham.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Keen.
Aye.
Lysick.
Aye.
Reinke.
Aye.
Rote.
No.
Stefanski.
Aye.
Turner. 9 in favor, 1 opposed.
Motion carries.
Now, Mayor Devine. First of all, I want to thank the Youth Commission for their participation this evening. You were active, you did a great job, we appreciate it. And I move that we adjourn until our next regularly scheduled meeting, Tuesday, March 7th, at 7 PM.
Second.
That little guy on the phone is still making.
Oh, boy.
All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.